Hi, welcome to another episode of Miller Chat. My name is Robbin Miller. My guest today is Paula Sullivan, author of 2 books, and she's going to talk about them today. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, we're taping today on Monday, Tuesday, a week or so before Thanksgiving. And thank you for coming on. And so let's tell the viewers who are you and a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Paula Sullivan, and I'm a wife to Jim of 26 years. We have 3 grown kids, and basically the reason I wrote these books is it's been a personal journey really all my life to, to get myself happy, to put it in a simple way. But, I've always had fears and doubts and worries and anxiety and, feelings of not being good enough and not being safe enough and, all those things just running in the back of my mind, even though, life is good. So I made it my personal mission as a young adult, to get happy. And as anyone knows who has had, who has anxiety or who has had it or who has had any kind of, anything like this, it's not easy. And so it's my story, but what I'm excited about is I discovered the power of our subconscious mind. Our level of happiness really is based on the programming that we have stored. And I really have discovered, and it's not just me, like no one else has discovered it, but I have discovered it through, reading and uncovering and years of this and practice and, just a long time. And I really think that I know what it takes, So that's my story.
Yeah, I know you're coming in and out with the volume, but I got it, what you were saying. I was reading about your story about running your 2 businesses, right? You ran one with your daughter, and then you ran one where you sold it off. It was regarding, you were making something out of Coke bottles?
Yep. It was called Sea Sodies. They were decorative
Okay.
fish. Yep, made from recycled soda bottles. And it was a business that my family, the kids and I, they grew up with really. And it was part-time 5 years and full-time 5 years. And then in 2015, I sold it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you're a self-made entrepreneur.
Yeah, I feel like this is my, my mission now. I'm a middle school paraprofessional, and I love the kids, and I can't say enough about the school. It's a great school. But really, it's for me, what I want to do is I want to build an online. I have a website, and I want to build it so I can just spread the word of, what I've learned
over the years.
Yeah.
Over the years. So regarding your book, how long did it take you to write your first book?
So the first one is right here, Simply Being Happy. It's pretty thick. Now this is the first book, and how this started was when I sold the business, I went to work right away full-time for a company that I did business with. But I still wasn't running a business anymore. So I feel like I had time to start really practicing what I had been learning for years. I was able to really double down. And what happened was after a while, I just really could see things, just that clearing out. And of course, it's a happiness is not it's not a one and done deal. It's not like one day I woke up and I was like, I'm happy, but things really were starting to shift. So I was excited. I was a newspaper reporter years ago, and so writing came easily to
Oh,
me. I never, and I was always a big reader, always a big reader. So writing kind of came easily. I never even really thought about writing a book. But what happened was one of the I like to read about the subconscious mind from the classics from way back when,
oh,
Joseph Murphy and
mm-hmm.
tons of them. And there was one special woman. Her name was Genevieve Behrend. She was in the 1900s, early 1900s, and her life was fascinating. And she taught people visualization because, as
Okay.
we know, what is worry but images playing over and over again,
Right.
in our minds. So she had such a fascinating life. She lived in New York City, and no one ever wrote. She wrote books, but no one ever wrote a book on her. So I went to see a friend. I went to see a friend who was an author, and I said, "What do you think?" And I was telling her all I learned, but I said, no one wrote a book on this woman, and think her life is fascinating. I was going on and on about what I learned, and she said, I think you ought to write a book about what you learned. Um,
Right. Right.
so that kind of just got the wheels spinning. And so what I did is I actually hired a coach, a writing coach, who was more like a book marketing coach. And every
Oh,
week, and he was out in California, but he was an ex-football player, so he was really like my coach. It was like that. And I've always liked to have people kind of coaching me whatever I'm working on. And so basically
right.
every week we touched base. He coached me. I belonged to his group also, and so this book took 7 months. But one of the secrets was he said there's some secrets to writing a book fast. And it was I got up every morning an hour early and I wrote for an hour. And so that was one of the
Oh,
secrets. And the other thing is, it wasn't like I had to try to come up with a story. I had amassed piles and piles of information and
right.
exercise practices, and there was I had so many books. So it was really a matter of deciphering it, of kind of, you know. So yeah, so this book is Simply Being Happy, and it's just kind of a big, someone called it like a cornucopia of these exercises that can
Yeah.
get into your subconscious mind. And then this came about. Finally Worry Free is my COVID book. I wrote it this summer.
Okay.
And it's and the reason and what it says is, it says so much advice out there is not helping. What it really takes to break free of worry and anxiety. Because what I realized is when I wrote Simply Being Happy, I needed to get online at this point and, work on building my brand. And being online, I started seeing for the past 2 years this advice, about, managing and dealing with anxiety and coping. And I just think it doesn't serve people like it should. I just don't think it's the right advice. I don't think it really makes a difference. It
Okay.
doesn't get deep down. And so I didn't even expect to write another book. And like, COVID came and school went remote.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I found myself with more time. And of course, I've always been working on my website and things like that. But yeah, it just kind of came to me. And excuse me. So it's 75 simple ways. I wanted to make it as thin as I could. I kept at the end, I kept taking stuff out because I know nowadays, people don't want to read a big thick book. People are used to blogs and quick things. So yeah, but I just felt compelled to write that book, and I'm really proud of it.
Yes, definitely. So that book the second book took shorter time than the first book.
Yeah, it did. It took me, um, it it might have taken me 3 months.
Good
Yeah,
for
I have it written down, but yeah, and I did the same thing. I did the same kind of things that I did to write the other one quickly. I wrote every day for at least an hour. Actually, to be honest with you, since I was working remote, with this book, I would write through the night because I didn't have to get up and go out to work. I mean, it's easy to remote when you can be in your PJ pants and,
Hmm.
it's things are a little easier with in some ways, with remote. So
Yeah, that's what I find too. So regarding simply being happy, how has the reception been? What kind of feedback have you received so far?
good, good. But I'm still almost virtually unknown. I really don't have a big following. Not a lot of people know about the book. They're on Amazon, but marketing my book is what I have to get good at, and that's
Hmm.
not, so. And the other thing too is, see, this getting myself happy has been a personal journey. It's not like
Hmm.
it's something where it's not like I was teaching, it's a book on decorating, and I would go with friends or parties and say, hey, this is what I'm working on. This has been so personal,
Right, right.
so meditating and all these things, and just digging in and healing. And so when the book came out, to be honest with you, it was really scary. It was kind of, I felt so vulnerable. And also, I didn't want my kids. I have, three, well, they're young adults, they're in their 20s, but at the time they were, teenagers. And I didn't want to come all out and feel like I didn't want to make them feel exposed, even though the book isn't about them. So yeah, so I have to admit that I was a little, I kind of, I didn't go all out, you know, but now I'm getting more comfortable in this whole, space that I'm in now. And actually I am getting, I do. I mean, there was a woman that said it's the best self-help book she's ever read. I have a woman that it's by her nightstand. She reads a little bit every night. Um, so I do get good, good feedback, but I do feel like I got a long way to go to even, really get myself out there.
Well, the thing is, being on both sides as a professional and obviously a person just like anyone else, a mom of an 11-year-old, when I read it, I understood being a professional. It wasn't evidence-based per se, but the people that you quoted, like Rick Hansen or Louise Hay, I mean, these people have been around for a long time. And professionals out there realize that when Louise Hay did her book, there was no research done.
Mhm.
She just did it.
Yeah.
And doctors now, I mean, I know she passed away, but doctors went to her asking for help.
Yeah.
And they found, like you say, reprogramming the subconscious,
Yeah.
positive statements, positive statements.
Yeah.
And the medical profession, as well as other professions, realize that it's really just learning to retrain your brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Louise Hay didn't have MRIs, she didn't do that, but it showed when doctors worked with her and they did the medical test on their clients, they found they had lower blood pressure, they had lower heart,
Yeah.
their heart disease was less. They realized things that words, saying positive statements and affirmations help decrease some of those symptoms in people's bodies.
Yeah. Yeah. She is definitely a pioneer. She was no
Yes.
doubt a pioneer. And that's not something that I even strive to be, but I do feel like I have a lot to teach, the world what I've learned from people like her, from the pioneers, from the people who have
Yes.
discovered these things. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and also the Buddhists. I know you
Yeah.
quote some of that. I
Yeah.
know you talk about visualizations, affirmations, meditations. Is there anyone that you'd like to share from your book you'd like to read?
Um, which one? Is there one in particular that you would like me to talk about?
I think there was the one about good vibrations.
I was just going to say that,
81.
raising
Page
our
81.
raising our vibration. Did you want me to actually go to the chapter and read, kind of like scan through it for you, or do you want me to just talk about it now? Like, or do you want me to go to the chapter? It's up to you.
Just talk about it and just talk about, the main gist of the exercise that
Yeah.
you put down.
The thing is it's funny. We were taught our ABCs in school, okay, the foundation of our language. I kind of have this little catch thing. I wish we could everybody could learn their AFVs, affirmations to change the way we talk to ourselves, visualization to change the images in our mind. And V
Mhm.
and F is for feelings. Feelings are so important. And if we can raise our vibration, if we can, we always think of feelings as just reactions. It's sunny out, I
Mhm.
feel happy.
Yes.
It's rainy out, I feel down.
Right.
But feelings are so powerful. Feelings are like the jetpack of our thoughts. They're the fuel. Joe Dispenza, who is amazing, who is a pioneer, he says thoughts are the language of our mind and feelings are the language of our body. And if
Right.
and so if people raising their vibe, it sounds like just a cute catchy thing, but it's so powerful. And as Neville Goddard said, he's one of the greats from years ago. Feeling is the secret. How we feel is creating our future, our lives. And
Yep.
so if people can just learn to raise their vibration, feel better, you know um, all throughout the day, little things, just there's, and I'm big on sneaking these little practices into our days, little things, because, we have 60,000 or more thoughts a day. And
I
so
know.
just to be inspired and say, I'm grateful, I'm worthy a few times, it's just not going to cut it. But when you add repetition, when you your feelings up, raising your vibe, all these little things, that start reprogramming. It's like a snowball. It just starts, compounding. So yeah, raising your vibration is really can be life changing if you keep doing it. Really can.
And also to your immune system,
Yes. Yes. Yep.
right?
You're right.
The higher the vibes,
Yep.
the higher the positive energy, the more your immune system gets better.
Yeah.
Because what
Yep.
you
There's
said in
so
your
much
book is
science. Yeah.
true. Yeah. I mean, what you say in your book, how it is, your emotions are in your cells.
Yes.
And that's what you
Exactly.
talked
Geez, you sound like you
about
could
kind of
write a book.
cleanse.
You know a lot. Yeah. Plus, well,
Well,
how many books have you written, Robin? Because I know
oh,
you
mine
and
are
I
just
met
picture
at
books.
Barnes and Noble. How many?
Oh, I just a couple picture books, kid books. I haven't written many adult books, so I just do kid books.
Okay, but I know you're because we've met at Barnes and Noble, so I know
Yep.
you're an
Yeah.
author yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. You just have to, when you're in the profession, you have to be very, very careful what you write about it. Yes, professionals use composite for cases because of they want to protect the identification, but it's always that line in the sand, and it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
It's better. I
Yeah.
like doing picture books.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I know that your book, I definitely feel that for people listening, that you're a lay person, you're a smart lay person, and you write it from your heart and your gut, and you know what you're talking about. And I know a lot of people today, they don't want the woohoo stuff.
Yeah.
They don't want a professional talking down to them.
Hmm.
They don't want to hear about the studies. They want
Yeah.
something that can help them and they can feel the effect of it.
Yeah.
And that's what people want. The your average person. I mean, look at Louise Hay, same thing.
Yeah.
And so I have the book. I bought it because I liked it. I've used so many exercises out there,
Thank
and they're pretty good. And you know, people ask about the research. I say, well, it's the doctors who worked with the gurus
you. Yeah.
that had to prove that it was working. They had to write something. They had to publish something to keep their licensure or their degree credible. So, but the Buddhists always say, why they keep studying the brain? We've been telling them that for
I
thousands of
know.
years.
I know. Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about finally free. Now, with COVID, what kind of tips can you give people surviving COVID? We're in our 8th month. We're in the red zone again because people don't simply listen. I mean, I know some people can't help it. Fortunately, we've had 70,000 deaths in Massachusetts. I'm sorry, 10,000 deaths. Excuse me. It's 70% of them are over the age of 65. So, what kind of tips can you give some people from your next, your new book, Finally Worry Free?
I think there's a big virus out there, and it's not just COVID. It's this mentality, this mindset of lack and of negativity. Just think of your conversations so often, people's conversations at work and even at the grocery store. They always, so often, they turn negative. It's this mindset, this mass mindset. And somehow,
Yep,
if you're
you're right about that.
smiling, you must be not very, you must be flighty, or to if you look like you don't have any cares in the world, well, you're not in touch with reality. But that's not true. That's just not true. I might have a smile on my face. No one knows what I've been through, in my life.
No,
And,
no.
I've earned this
Yep.
smile, and but there's, I think people need to be careful and protect, like we're talking about, our vibration, our feelings, our energy. I think, yeah, you got to protect yourself with that mask. But you also have to protect, I think, your energy,
Yep,
and your
definitely.
happiness from the negativity. It's you, you, if you decide that you want to become happier, you can start breaking free of that thing, that negativity. You can learn to separate yourself, even if you
Yeah,
can't
that's
physically,
right. But some
but
people can't.
mentally. And
Yep.
yeah, I just don't, you know, and people's aches and pains, and the weather is so awful, and the COVID, and of course the politicians, and it goes on and on and on. And I wish people overall, like on a big scale, could start waking up to that negativity. That would change people's lives. You know.
Well, I think if you look at the universe right now, I think with a change in leadership coming, I think some of that negativity will probably go out the window for some, but some might choose to keep it.
Yeah, they say, even though everything seems so negative, the level is rising in the energy level on overall. And it's so funny because, speaking of this negativity that we're talking about, a few months ago, someone as described the news that we listen to as, if you were to go to Disney World and only only videotape the toilets, and that's the news. That's the news. It's so negative. It's just
Yeah.
they're feeding this to us, this fear and negativity and lack, and yeah. So I think if people can learn to separate from that and choose and understand that they have a choice, and they can break away from it in some ways.
Yep, they do. So of those 75 tips, does anyone want to share? We have about 5 minutes left. So is there any those tips you want to share? What are your 75 tips?
Yeah, one thing that is going to sound so corny, and I don't care, but it's self-love is so important. We a lot of adults, it's common for us to be so critical of ourselves, to just, we
Yes.
don't even realize in the back of our minds, we're treating ourselves so poorly, and we think that it's okay. We wouldn't treat our friend, though, as badly as we treat ourselves.
Mm.
And I think that is so powerful if you can start becoming aware, because awareness is another biggie in my book. Aware
Yes.
of this self-criticism, aware that you don't love yourself, that you think you're not good enough because you're something physically about you is not right. I mean, love yourself like you would a child. Love yourself,
Yep.
and don't consider them imperfections, like, oh yeah, let's just, these imperfections are often just these rules, these made up rules that we came up with a lot of times when we were kids. We we didn't know better. Like, oh, well, that girl over there, she's smart and she comes from a great family and she does good in school and she's the perfect height and well, those are the standards and I can't meet, measure them, but I'll just love my imperfections. Throw that out the window. Love yourself like you would a child.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
the thing is repetition. You know, if you could, I actually have a timer on my phone. There's all these
Okay.
little laps. I have a timer, and every hour on the hour it goes on, and it's a reminder to praise myself. To say one thing, one little thing. You're beautiful. Um, it could be, I'm beautiful, you're beautiful. It doesn't matter because your subconscious mind is taking it in. See, that's the thing. It might sound
Yeah.
corny, but what you're doing with
Right.
these corny little things is actually reprogramming your mind. So yeah, if you can start being aware and of this self criticism and decide you want to change it, love yourself. I mean, we only get one shot at this, just like love
Yep.
yourself, let the rules go, let the self criticism go, but use the power of repetition too. And keep, see, my little thing just went off, 5 o'clock. But yeah, use the power of repetition, and just little things, just little things that you can, turn around.
Yeah, it takes 30 days to rewire the brain. So the research has shown
Yeah.
it can be done.
Yep.
But people are very impatient.
Yeah.
The generation of today, not all, I know, I'm saying all of them, the younger generation, they want that quick fix.
Yeah. And it's a life, like I said, it's really a
Not gonna work. You
lifetime.
have to work, and you got to work,
Yeah.
like you said.
It's just yeah.
Yep, it's a lifetime. So we have about 2 minutes left. So why don't you have any speaking engagements coming up on Zoom or anything coming up?
No, nothing coming up. Just excited about my website. I created a YouTube channel, and it's got just a few videos on it. But what I'm doing is I created 3 videos highlighting celebrities who meditate, and
Oh,
they're just short videos. But we get inspired when we see people that we admire, who do something that it might put the spark in us to say, oh well, maybe I can try that. So yeah, I want to so I have all kinds of
yeah.
ideas for fun videos, and I've created a blog, and so yeah, I'm having fun with that kind of stuff.
Okay. Well, we have less than a minute. We have about a minute to go. So just tell us about your website and your email address, or how people can contact you.
Okay, so my website is finallyworryfree.org. So it's .org. Um,
Okay.
I'm Facebook is Paula Sullivan author, but Facebook is one of those things. I'm not that good at Facebook, so I don't use it like I should. Sometimes I'll be in a mood and I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna post every day this week, and then you won't see me for a month or something. I'm not very consistent on Facebook.
Okay.
So but I also have a YouTube channel, Finally Worry Free.
Good for you.
And I'm also started Pinterest, which is kind of cool. I kind of like it. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Paula Sullivan, author of 2 books, Simply Happy and Finally Worry Free. Thank you for coming on. Her information about how you can contact her and buy her books will be on this end of the TV show. And I want to wish you all happy holidays, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Good night.